ओम अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूप कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम्। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो विष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासदि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। कूजन्तं राम रामेति मधुरं मधुराक्षरम् आरुह्य कविता शाखां वन्दे वाल्मीकिकोकिलम्। यः पिबन् सततं रामचरितामृतसागरम् अमृतस्तमुनिं वन्दे प्राचेतसकल्मषम्। गोष्पदीकृतवारीशं मशकीकृतराक्षसम् रामायण महामालरत्नं वन्दे अनिलात्मजम्। अंजनानंदनं वीरं जानकी शोकनाशनं कपीशमहंतारं वन्दे लंकाभयंकरम्। यत्र यत्र रघुनाथकीर्तनं तत्र तत्र कृतमस्तकाञ्जलिं बाष्पवारि परिपूर्णलोचनं मारुतिं नमत राक्षसान्तकम्। मनोजवं मारुततुल्यवेगं जितेन्द्रियं बुद्धिमतां वरिष्ठं वातात्मजं वानरयूथमुख्यं श्रीरामदूतं शिरसा नमामि। चरितं रघुनाथस्य शतकोटिप्रविस्तरम् एकैकमक्षरं पुंसां महापातकनाशकम्। वाल्मीकिर्मुनिसिंहस्य कवितावनचारिणः शृण्वन् रामकथानादं को न यान्ति परां गतिम्। Okay, continuing where we left off. The question is, where did we leave off? We talked about the 16 qualities of Sri Ramachandra that Valmiki asked, is there someone in this current or current times? Kon Vasmin, is there anyone? Sampratam Loke, in this current time. So then Narad Muni gives the entire Ramayana in, he said, summary form, Sankshipta Ramayana. That's pretty much chapter 2. Then it said that at the end of chapter 2, that's chapter 1. In chapter 2 is this whole incidents of Shoka, bringing forth Shloka. Then Lord Brahma coming and telling Valmiki, now stop worrying about it. You've worried enough. In fact, Lord Brahma laughingly tells him, it is okay. It is actually devised by me. And now you happily write the entire glory of Lord Ramachandra in such a way that not only you, but for eternity, anyone who hears it will become very happy. And remember the shloka, as long as there are mountains on the earth and as long as rivers flow on the earth, there will be the recitation of Ramayana. And we said the other side is also true. As long as Ramayana is recited, there will be mountains on the earth and rivers will flow on the earth. So then we're going to do chapter 3 and 4, maybe 5. I'm not so sure, because 5, there are more details that I want to give. I may or may not be able to do today. So what happens in chapter 3 is Valmiki gives a summary of this chapter. And I did not bring my computer, so I'll have to remember where it is. Okay. So Valmiki, just like Vyasadeva, sat down in meditation. Remember, Lord Brahma had said that when you look at your palm, everything will manifest for you. All that has happened, all that people know and people don't know, some things that happened in privacy, everything detail you will get to see. Now, sometimes the question is asked, was the Ramayana composed before, during, or after Lord Ramachandra? And different views are there. From the Valmiki Ramayana, it was composed during. Okay. The way it was composed is up to a point, it talks about the story in past tense. So it brings us to that situation, and then it is spoken in future as to what will happen. Okay. Remember, Valmiki was in a state of disarray, or he prayed to Narada Muni, right, as to why Sita had walked into his ashram. That's how we are going through this. So up until that point, everything is then narrated in past tense as if it happened, and then is future. So if some of you are scholars and want that reference, what I'm going to recite is that reference for you. Chapter 3, texts 5 and 6. Okay, basically 6. Tatah pashyanti dharmatma tat sarvam yogam asthitah. Dharmatma, that is Valmiki, pashyati, we saw. Tatah pashyati dharmatma sarvam, he saw everything that had happened because he was situated, he was fixed in yoga. That means he was in trance, he was connected with the Supreme Lord. Not yoga like he was sitting in Padmasana or peacock pose and Mayurasana, not like that. Then, Pura yat tatra nirvittam Panavamalakam yatha. Pura, that which had passed. That was from the past. Pura yat tatra nirvrittam. Up until that point, whatever had passed, Panavamalakam. Pana is the hand or palm. Amalakam, we say gooseberry or amala fruit. So his screen was not as big as our screens. His screen was only as big as a amalaka fruit. So on his palm, in a little small circular screen, he saw everything. Pamakam yatha. Okay? Tat sarvam tatvo drushta dharmena sa mahamati. So he saw on his palm top the entire proceedings of the Ramayana up until that moment. Abhiramasya Ramasya tat sarvam kartumudyatah. Whatever Lord Ramachandra had done up until that point. Okay. Then, when he heard from Narada and he saw, after that he saw everything on his palm, he wrote it down. He wrote it down very, very nicely. And he actually prepared himself. Of course, we sit anywhere, but there is a method. He had Kusha grass with the tips pointing to the east, and he sat down on Kusha grass with his mind fully absorbed in his spiritual master's instructions. And remember, he gave this to the whole form of Lord Ramachandra. So with meditation on the form of Lord Ramachandra, as he saw what was showing on his palm, he was writing it down very clearly. Okay? And in this third chapter, he gives a whole summary of the Ramayana. It doesn't give the detail, just the summary. He saw Dasaratha along with his wives. He saw the Ayodhya kingdom. He saw how Lord Ramachandra was sent to the forest. There, how they lived in the forest. Then he saw all the proceedings of Ramayana, how Sita was kidnapped, how Lord Ramachandra went to Kishkinda, made friends with the monkey army, built a bridge across the ocean, went there. Hanuman had gone before, he went there. Then the whole armies went, they fought, they killed Ravana. Lord Ramachandra returned back to Ayodhya and became coronated as the king. We call it Pattabhishekam. He became the king. That's all he saw. So that's pretty much the third chapter, this whole summary. Okay. Then after he's done all this, he then has to, he has a concern. How will this Ramayana get propagated? It has to go to the public. So he got this entire story and he wrote it. Sometimes people ask, how do you know there are 24,000 slokas? And some people say Uttarakanda was never part of Ramayana, it came later. Right? There are persons who say like that. Some people who say that certain sections of Balakanda also came later. So in this Valmiki Ramayana, he's writing about himself. So we talked why Valmiki speaks about himself in third person. Right? Did we go through that one? Okay, I think I spoke to you. So sometimes, this was a question that bothered me when I was reading Bhagavatam. In the first few verses of the Bhagavatam, Vyasadeva refers to himself in third person. Mahamuni Krite. It was written by the Mahamuni. And here it says Valmiki also composed it. So the question is, why do sages write in third person? Is it needed? So there are two reasons. One, these sages are beyond the bodily concept of life. Okay? So they never will say aham. Aham is first person singular. It's the most egotistical way of addressing oneself. I. Okay? Generally, they may not say I, they say we. Vayam. Where does it appear in Bhagavatam? Where Shukadeva Goswami speaks about himself. In 6th canto, when he's talking about the Mahajanas, he said Swayambhu, Narada Shambhu, Kapilo Janako, etc. Narada, Balir, Vayasaki. This is, I'm sorry, Yamraj speaking. Shukadeva Goswami is narrating. Balir, Vayasaki, Vayam. Vayam means Yamraj is saying, I am also considered as the Mahajan. So they say Vayam as we. Sometimes in Hindi, refined people never say main. They say hum. It's like that. Next is, we also speak about ourselves in third persons. If we didn't catch it sometimes. When we say to our children, okay, can you give this to daddy? Can you give this to mommy? We're talking to us. We're talking about us. We don't say, can you give it to me? Right? So in that sense, we speak about ourselves also in third person. So similarly, Valmiki is writing about himself as a third person. So here it says, Chaturvimshata Sahasrani. Chaturvimshati means 20. Chaturvimshati, 24. Sahasrani. This is Canto 4, Chapter 2. Chapter 4, Sloka 2. Okay. Shlokanam Uktavan Rishi. Uktavan, he spoke or composed it in 24,000 slokas. Tatha Sarga Shatan Pancha Shat Kandani. Sarga means chapters. How many? Pancha. Sarga Shatan Pancha. Shatan Pancha. 500 chapters. So now if you read through and you add up the chapters, they don't add up to 500. They add up to 527. Okay. And Shat Kandani, 6 cantos. But we said there are 7. Tathottaram, Tatha Uttaram. And the epilogue, which is the Uttarakanda. That word Tatha by the commentators is explained in like 4 paragraphs, okay, which we're now going to get into Tat, all that meaning. But the Tatha refers to the Supreme Personality of Godhead that talks about his activities that are going to come in the future. So the 500 chapters talk of the past and the Uttarakanda speaks of the future, what will happen. So now you see the Ramayana is composed of what has happened up to that point. And when Sita Devi enters Valmiki's ashram, technically that's where Uttarakanda begins. Actually, the last Kanda ends with Lord Ramachandra being crowned as the king. So anything that happened there on is included in the Uttarakanda. Okay, so you got the numbers and all that. So the question is why 500 chapters are referred here, but it is 527. Okay, so when you're writing shlokas to write 527, this is where it is spoken as when someone asks your age. Suppose I am 40, 48, not yet, 47, soon to be 48. Someone asks me, what's your age? I say 47. I don't say 47, 10 months, 4 days. That's like foolish, although that's accurate. So when you say 500 chapters, it refers to the number 527, roughly, okay, approximately. Is that okay? All right. Okay. Then is the reference. Krutva tu tan mahapragya. Mahapragya is this greatly renowned person. Sa bhavishyam sahottaram. The bhavishyam, the future, is in the Uttarakanda. Chintaya masako tatvena prayunjati yaditi prabhu. Then he started thinking, okay, now that is all Ramayana is composed, everything is there. How will it get propagated in the future? Tasya chintaya masa maharshir vibhatmanaha agruhnitani tatha padav. He saw Kushi Lava. He saw these 2 boys, Lava and Kusha, who were already in his ashram. So by the time Sita came, the boys were delivered, Valmiki composed, all of this has happened. Okay. So don't ask me to put it chronologically, it happened. You figure out. Okay. So Valmiki has composed. Now he's thinking how to propagate it. He saw these 2 boys. And then he understood that they're very, very qualified. So for us, as recipients of Ramayana, what should be our qualification? Kushi lavautu dharmagyo. Dharmagyo. Because it's talking about 2. One should know dharma properly. We should know. That means we should study Prabhupada's books carefully, because that's where Prabhupada teaches us what is proper dharma. Rajaputro. So we lost that one. Yashasvinav. Yashasvinav means very, very famous. Myself, particularly, I'm notorious. But Yashasvi is still there. Bhratarav Sarva Sampannam is endowed with good qualities. That means unless we have a good sadhana program where we are chanting Krishna's name properly, we're studying Prabhupada's books, we're practicing devotional service properly, these qualities will not manifest. So whatever we hear may not get to the heart. It may go from one ear, and before we notice it, it will go move out of the other ear. We want it to take a different path. We want it to enter the heart because we're being given a treasure and we want to hold on to that treasure. So then he got them, sat them down, and he spoke the entire Ramayana. And he told them that the story, he never called it Ramayana to them because as you see in the future, there is the little bit of enigma to it. He called it Sitayam Charitam Mahat and Paulasya Vadham, the killing of the grandson of Pulasya. So they learned the story. And how did they learn it? They learned the entire Ramayana by heart. They memorized all of the shlokas and they were to sing it. They were very, very skillful musicians. So when they would sing Ramayana, okay, in the proper meter, in the proper raga, I am not skilled at singing. My god sister there, Jyotirmay, she is very, very skilled. Some people are very gifted. She is one of them. And they sing these shlokas. If you ever hear Ramayana shlokas being sung, when it is the proper raga, it definitely pulls the strings of the heart. So these two learned it like that. Okay. And they learned how to modulate their voice, how to sing every syllable properly. See, we are not endowed with Sanskrit. So when we sing Bhagavad Gita shlokas, we don't sing certain words properly. Especially if you hear Guru Vandana, Prabhupada's Sri Guru Charana Padma, Kevala Bhakti Sadma. So many words we mispronounce. It actually means the wrong things. For example, we say in Prabhupada's Pranam Mantra, this is superfluous, but you get it. I have a little thing about it. So, Namaste, we say Saraswate Devi. It is, why is it, the correct pronunciation is Namaste Saraswate Devi. Why Saraswate Devi? Because Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati, that's his name. So one who is the descendant of Saraswati is called Saraswati. If you say Namaste Saraswati Devi, you are referring to Bhakti Siddhanta. You are not referring to Prabhupada. No, Namaste Saraswati Devi. That is the descendant of Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati. Dasharatha. His son is Dasarathi. Vasudeva. His son is Vasudeva. Sometimes we say, refer to Krishna's father also as Vasudev. Sometimes we refer to Krishna also as Vasudev. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Vasudev. Okay, of course, at some point that's not so relevant, but it is important as to who we are referring to. These two were so expert. Of course, in Kali Yuga, even if you mispronounce, Krishna thankfully is called Bhavagrahi Janardana. He says, okay, that is the bhava is there. Forget about pronunciation. Yeah. I'll tell you a story of Prabhupada just because this is. Prabhupada was giving Gayatri Mantra to his disciples. There's one particular disciple, I won't take the name. He was giving Gayatri Mantra. So we know that we recite 7 Gayatri Mantras. They are not easy to pronounce. They're supposed to be pronounced in a particular way. The way we do it is actually, they're supposed to be pronounced. There's a Gayatri meter to it. Just as Anushtup has meter, Gayatri has a particular meter. It's to be recited in a particular way. So forget about recitation, even pronunciation of the words. This Prabhu was unable to recite so well. So Prabhupada laughed and said, forget it. Just somehow say the words, Krishna will take care of you. So that is our hope. Because when we recite this, it's not what it is meant to be. But this is back in Treta Yuga, where they were very, very particular. If you mispronounce one word, or you say something wrong, it has very dramatic effects. Right? In the Vritrasura pastime, Instead of saying Indra Shatroho, there was one akara that was extra. Ah, he said, instead of a. There was a whole different outcome out of it. So we should be careful. Anyway, it is said that these two boys, they were so talented. They were in that Valmiki's ashrams area. They learnt it and they would go to different villages and sing the Ramayana. And everyone in the village was so enthralled by the narrations of Ramayana that they would all come running. And all these great sages would stop what they were doing and hear these boys and say, "Excellent, excellent. These two boys are reciting it so sweetly. And this Ramayana is so exceptional, especially the composition of the verses. Prashashamshu, Prashastavyo, Gayamano." Oh, there's Prashashams means in a way of praiseworthy. These guys are singing it in such a praiseworthy way. Then, Aho Gitasya Madhuryam Shlokanam Cha Visheshata. These Ramayana shlokas are so sweet, especially Visheshataha Madhurya. So when they were reciting in different sabha or gatherings, these sages would come forward and give these boys gifts. Now, sages don't have riches or money. They would give simple gifts, but they were meaningful to them. They would give. Here's a list of some of the gifts they were getting. They would all applaud. They would all like. They would stand up, and one sage would come and give them an umbrella. One would give them a bark of a tree that they could wear. One would give them the black skin of a deer. Brahmacharis are supposed to wear on their shoulder the skin of a deer. Recently we saw Vamana's appearance day observed. The picture of Vamana is with a deer skin. Why is that deer skin there? When you sit on it and you do your sadhana, chanting, meditation, insects, snakes, scorpions will not come near you. That's why they wear it. Someone gave them a kamandalu for carrying water, like gifting a water bottle. Someone gave them Brahmin threads to wear. Someone gave them kaupinas that they could wear. Someone gave them lungis so they were giving all these gifts to them because that's what they had. They would bring and happily give. That's the expression of how happy they were. So whatever they had heard from Lava and Kusha, they gave gifts to these two. So like this, they were in the Sankirtan party. They were going from one village to another village, reciting Ramayana. As they were traveling, one day they came to the city of Ayodhya. And they were walking the streets of Ayodhya, chanting Ramayana. And people were gathering in crowds, listening to them. Lord Ramachandra was traveling on a chariot along those roads. And then he saw little crowds and people all being so happy. So he found out what is going on. And he was told that two boys are narrating Ramayana very, very nicely. So he said, bring them to the palace. The two boys were invited. The whole assembly hall of Lord Ramachandra was filled with sages, citizens, ministers, Bharata, Lakshmana, Shatrughna, everyone. They all gathered around Lava and Kusha waiting to hear. The only person who was sitting up on the throne high up there was Lord Ramachandra. Everyone else was thronged around these boys. And Lord Ramachandra looked at Lava and Kusha and said, something's not right about these boys. They look so effulgent. On their bodies are these markings of great Kshatriyas. How are they looking like these Brahmin boys? Something doesn't fit. It's the same about him. When he and Lakshmana were traveling the forest, everyone would ask them, something's not right. You're wearing the clothes of a forest dweller, but you're carrying bow and arrow. Your arms don't look like, this frail brahmacharis, muscular, strong. These two don't go together. How can you be so muscular but eating fruits and berries and living in the forest? Picture doesn't match. But similarly, when Lord Ramchandra looked at them, said they look like princes, but they're dressed like ascetics or sages. So he said, please sing the Ramayana. Oh, before he asked them to sing, here are some really nice verses. This is the last few verses of chapter 4. Lord Ramachandra tells everyone, please gather and hear them. And then he says, they are going to sing Ramayana. And as they were beginning to sing, they were so melodious. Lord Ramachandra tells his assembly, Mamapi tad bhutikaram prachakshate mahanubhavam charitam nibodhata. Nibodhata means may you all be preached on it or give it a good hearing. He says, this Ramayana, mamapi tad bhutikaram. It is going to be beneficial for me as well. Now, he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. How can Ramayana be beneficial for himself? Someone might say, well, that's a little egotistical, because most people feel that when their glories are sung, it is beneficial for them. Right? However, that's not true. If we consider, let's say, if I consider my life, I shouldn't say yours, if I consider my life, when someone speaks all the things that I have done, it's very embarrassing. So it's not beneficial for me. It's embarrassing. In fact, I would tell someone, if someone knows all the details of what has happened that no one knows, I'd be like, shut up, right? Please don't. Lord Ramchandra is saying it's beneficial for me as well. Why? Because the way it is going to come out from these two boys, Lord Ramachandra will also get to learn. Have I made any mistake? Were there any situations where I could have done things better? So this is going to be beneficial for me as well. Okay. And he says, Tatastu tau Rama vachah prachoditavyam marga vidhana sampada. So apparently in classical music, there are two ways of singing. One is called marga method. The other is called desika method or desi method. Desi method is where you sing folk songs. And marga method is where you sing songs that are composed in Sanskrit, not in vernacular or the local language. So they were so marga sampanna. They were very, very trained, well trained in this method of singing. So when they started singing, one element after another, one story after another, one chapter after another, something was happening to Lord Ramachandra. He was sitting high up on the throne. Slowly, it said, Sa chapi Ramaha parishad gataha shanair bhabhushaya. Shanair means slowly, gradually. From the throne, he came down the steps. From the steps, came down even more steps. How many steps are there in Lord Ramachandra's assembly to get to the throne? 24. Okay. So in Ramayana, 24 is the magical number. Everything has 24 connected to it. Okay. So he got down the steps slowly and slowly. Now let's say we all have this experience. We are sitting in a Bhagavatam class, correct? And when or some discussion is happening, when the spiritual master enters, whatever we are discussing, we notice, we stop, we bow down, right? Or when Bhagavatam class is going on, curtains open on the altar, then it doesn't matter how wonderful point is being made, it's such an important thing, but as soon as curtains open, we all bow down, right? So this is Lord Ramachandra, the emperor of the planet. When he's coming down the steps, when the king stands up, naturally everyone has to stand up. That's etiquette. When he stood up, no one noticed. They didn't even care. They were too absorbed in the Ramayana. He was coming down the steps. No one noticed because they were too absorbed in the recitation of the Ramayana. Then he came and sat with the crowd. The people who were sitting, even the commoners, when they looked, they saw Ram there sitting next to them. It didn't occur to them, this is the Supreme, this is Lord Ramachandra, the king sitting next to me. They were just stabdha. They're so absorbed in Lava and Kusha's recitation. They completely were oblivious that the Supreme Lord Ramachandra was sitting next to them and also captivated by. So the word is Shanair Babhushaya. Then there are commentaries by Acharyas on that word Babhushaya. Babhushaya literally means eager to know. So Lord Ramachandra is also eager. What are these boys going to say? How are they saying it? And it is so enchanting. And then Babhushaya Asakta Mana Babhuva. Asakta Mana. His mind became very attached to this hearing. So this theme is there in Bhagavad Gita also. That if we have to hear carefully, our mana, mind should be asakta. Doesn't how the first verse of 7th chapter begins. Maya sakta mana partha yogam yunjan madashraya. Maya sakta mana. One's mind has to be absorbed in Krishna, to be hearing about Krishna. Otherwise, you cannot hear. The words will go this way and go this way without any translation, without any interpretation, without anything sticking to the heart. So even Lord Ramachandra was asakta mana. He was hearing. So that ends the 4th chapter. The 5th chapter is the description of Koshala and Ayodhya, 5th and 6th. I may not do 6th today, but I'll give you a quick synopsis of 5th and we'll stop. Okay. So the city is called Ayodhya, that is residing in the region or the kingdom of Koshala. Now, where did Koshala kingdom come from? So the first verse says, Sarva Purvamayam Yoshama Sita Kritsnam Vasundhara. This entire Vasundhara, this entire globe was governed by certain kings. Prajapati. That is, Prajapati in this case is Vaivasvata Manu. Manu ruled the entire planet. And he gave it to his son. Who was that? Ikshvaku. When he gave the kingdom, it is said, he gives with instructions. In Krishna say, I spoke to Vivaswan, Vivaswan Manave Praho, Manur Ikshvakam Abravit. So that came to Ikshvaku. Like that, from one king to another, this Koshala kingdom was given from Manu's hands. And now these boys, they are reciting this. Yesham Sagaro Nama Sagaro Yena Khanitaha. In this lineage was a great king called Sagara. And he was the one who excavated all the oceans. And that's why they are called Sagara. Okay. When we come to the narration of the story of King Sagara, I'll tell you again, but I'll say it now. The word Sagara means poisoned or with poison. Sagara. When this Sagara prince was a young boy, his stepmothers became envious of him and they poisoned his food. So his growth was stunted. Because of it, his name became Sagara, one who's poisoned. So Lava and Kusha are saying, Yesham sa sagaro nama sagaro yena khani. Shashti putra sahasrani. Shashti putra sahasrani. 60,000 sons. He had 60,000 sons. Ikshvakunamidam Tesham Ragya Vasham Mahatmanam. So they're narrating how one after the other they were great kings in the Ikshvaku dynasty. And they say that this Koshala dynasty is situated along the Sarayu river. Who went to see the Sarayu river? We went. What a beautiful river. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Sarayu is in Ayodhya. We went to Ayodhya. We sat on the banks of Sarayu and heard Ramayana. It was such an amazing experience. Unlike other rivers, unfortunately, you only see the banks of the river, you don't see any water. My maternal grandparents are from a place where the Krishna river flows. Soumya is from there. Today you go, you don't see the river. You just cross a bridge, you hardly see the river except after rainy season. Otherwise, when you cross the bridge, you say, oh, this is recent. I went to Sri Rangam recently. We crossed the bridge. You're supposed to be crossing Kaveri river. You don't see the river except some little stream of water and you wonder what happened to Kaveri. Yamuna, you get to see. But you can literally walk through the Yamuna. It's only about your ankle deep, maybe up to the knees. Ganga is deeper. When you see Sarayu, it is such a vast expanse of body of water. Okay. So the word Sarayu is got its name Sarayu because it means something. Sarantam Yauti iti Sarayu. Yauti means that which mixes with or brings one in contact with. And Sarantam means a person who's meditating on the Supreme. So if we have a desire and a meditation to want to meet the Supreme, it is said that if you take a bath in the Sarayu, she will carry you to the Supreme Lord. That is why she is called Sarayu. And that river is on the banks of Ayodhya. The word Ayodhya. Yodhya means vincible. Ayodhya is invincible. So Ayodhya has two meanings. One meaning is the spiritual world. That spiritual world is invincible in the sense that you cannot take a boat or a plane or Chandrayaan or any rocket and go there. It is not accessible on one's own. So it is called Ayodhya. And it is, in this case, it's described how it is protected that you cannot access Ayodhya. So you cannot enter Vaikuntha, the spiritual world, on one's own. One has to take you there. Sarayu river has to take you there. Ayodhya, in the context of the Ramayana, also means the body. Okay. Because this body is also invincible in one sense, except for a few people. For example, when one is feeling sleepy, can you overcome sleep? You can fight it a little bit. But after some point, you have to succumb to it. In my case, I don't even try. So I just succumb before putting up any fight. When you're thirsty, only up to a point you can go. When we do Nirjala or Janmashtami, as soon as 12 o'clock darshan, everyone runs down for Charnamrit. I want something. Right? Thirsty. You cannot hold thirst. You cannot hold hunger. And if the body has to pass stool, you cannot say, I decided, no more. You will not be there anymore. So in that sense, it is Ayodhya. It is beyond our. So the point is, we have to use this Ayodhya as the vehicle to find that Ayodhya. And the Sarayu river is the process of bhakti that takes us there. So without a desire to meeting the Lord, not happening. Okay, so this is the description of the Koshala dynasty. It is 12 yojanas long. That's 96 miles long and 3 yojanas wide. That's 24 miles wide. So 96 miles long and 24 miles wide. And it has highways. Those are daily sprinkled with water and flowers that are dropped from the heavenly kingdoms. Every day, the devatas would come and they would worship the streets of Ayodhya. Not just the palaces, the streets of Ayodhya. When Jagannath Lord comes out, you all sweep the street, right? Even King Pratap Rudra, kings did it. In Ayodhya's case, devatas, they would throw flowers from, shower flowers from the heavenly kingdoms. King Dasharatha, by his own virtue, promoted the kingdom to such a degree that it became the envy of Indra's city called Amravati. Envy in the sense that it competed with in terms of beauty, in the way it was constructed. It was protected from all sides with weapons, with moats of water, fire, and forts. You could not get in. It was full of horses, elephants, cows, camels, and donkeys. So I have hope there. Adorned with mountain-like mansions built with precious stones. There were no ordinary houses. There were no garden apartments. I've joked about garden apartments many times. If not, you'll hear it. When I came to America, I was asked, hey, there's a garden unit for rental. Would you want it? I thought, garden unit? Yeah, that would be really nice. I went to see it. You know where it was? It was underground. And near the ceiling of the room, there is a window that looks into the garden. That is the garden unit. I was like, no, thank you. Okay. And every day, here, if you come to Chicago City, what do you hear in the background? The beautiful sounds of the police cars or ambulance. That is the sound that you hear. If you go to Ayodhya, you would hear kettle drums. You would hear mridangas, kartals, people singing, great trumpets being blown. Because every minute there was something great happening in Ayodhya. Okay. Then there were great warriors on all sides. So this king got the name Dasharatha. What was his actual name? Anyone knows? That was not his name. It was a title given to him, Dasharatha. His real name was Dharmaraja. It's going to come later. When Lord Ramachandra is speaking to Kaushalya, he will tell her Dharmaraja. He will address his father as Dharmaraja. That was his real name, Dharmaraja. The title he got was Dasharatha. Okay. So why did the title Dasharatha come? Because there are meanings to it. Dasharatha. Dasha means 10. Dasharatha means he had the capacity to take his chariot unhindered in all 10 directions. We can only drive in how many directions? 4. We can turn right, we can turn left, we can go forward, and we can go reverse. That too little bad. Not everyone's good at reverse. Okay, at the most 4 directions. 8, you can argue. But 10 directions, up and down. Up and down. Dasharatha took his chariot and went to Devaloka to fight. On his own chariot. So Dasharatha, that's one way. Another meaning is, in his kingdom, under his power were many Maharathis. So they had titles, Maharathi. How do you get a title Maharathi? You have to do something. Here is how you become a Maharathi. This is the two definitions of Maharathi given in scriptures. Atmanam Sarathim Cha Ashwan Rakshan Yudhyeta Yo Naraha Sa Maharatagya Syat. In a battle, if you can protect, you can defend and protect yourself, your chariot, your charioteer, your horses, then you get the title Maharathi. If you read Bhagavatam, you'll see they'll shoot arrows and they will break the shaft or the umbrella of the chariot, and they will completely crush the chariot, they will kill the horses, they'll kill the charioteer. Then that is not a Maharathi. Maharathi is one who protects himself, the entire chariot, the horses and the charioteer. Another definition. Eko dasha sahasrani yodheyad yasyud dhanvinam. A person who is able to fight single-handedly 10,000 archers gets the name Maharathi. Higher than Maharathi, you get the title Athirathi. Athirathi is one who can fight many Maharathis simultaneously. That is Dasharatha. So you can say roughly he can fight 10 Athirathis simultaneously, or he can fight 10 Maharathis simultaneously. That is his greatness. And it says fighting archers, not people in front of you. Archer means they can stand far away and shoot arrows. Okay. So this is the greatness of Dasarath. And it is described that all of the residents of Ayodhya, which we'll hear next week, more details of Ayodhya, the warriors that were in Ayodhya were all skilled at the ability of shooting their target without having to look at the target. They can shoot just from the sound of the target. This is important because this will come later. When Dasharatha, poor guy, falls into a little trouble. So anyway, that's the description with which, so the question is, why did Lava-Kusha start the Ramayana description with Koshala kingdom and Ayodhya? Really, do I want to hear that there were moats here, there were fire here, the warriors are there, Maharata, Tirath, really is it important? Then the answer is, we may not appreciate it now, but if you think of it in terms of a painting, that if you want to paint something in the foreground without having a proper background on the canvas, you cannot build out the foreground. Yeah. So the painter, although wants to paint something very exquisite, someone's portrait with all the features of their eyes, the iris and the pupil and all that detail, first takes a broad brush and colors the background. If you don't give the background, your contrast will not come out well. That is how the background is first prepared as to why the Koshala kingdom, how it came, what is Ayodhya, and how everyone is happy is what we're going to hear tomorrow. Not tomorrow, next time we meet. How everyone was happy. There are some descriptions of Ayodhya. Okay, there was one, I'll end with this, we'll repeat it again. There was one career that you could not have in Ayodhya. You know what that is? On the phone? Huh? Okay, then there are two careers. One was psychologist. Looking for employment. That's one. That's not an employment. Another employment that you did not have.
No hospitals.
No.
No hospitals.
No hospitals. It's not a career. No beggars. No cop cars. Begging is
No lawyers. No lawyers.
no lawyers. Well, the ministers were there. No locksmiths. No locksmith. No doors were there. There is this, I learned this earlier on. There's this saying, people living in glass houses. That's the wrong one. The correct one is people living in glass houses should change their clothes in the dark. Okay. So you need doors, they just didn't have locks. So we'll go through the list of how people lived in Ayodhya. It is almost unbelievable. You cannot imagine that anyone can live like that. This is during Dasharatha's time. What to speak of Ramarajya? Okay, any questions, comments, thoughts? They know who their mother is. They don't know who the father is yet. That is why the story was treated as Sitayam Charitam Mahat. They've come to meet Lord Ramachandra, but never it said anywhere they knew. So think of it as a Bollywood movie. We know, the observers know, but you know that song. This is where I make a joke. Going through childhood, there were many movies, right, in which there is a family song. And all the members of the family sing those songs in different places, looking for their family members. And only near the climax of the movie, they will sing a song and they will recognize each other. Hey, this is my family member. That story comes from Ramayana. They all have the same song, same story. They're singing and trying to look for their family member. So we know, but we don't know if they know.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
They, at least it doesn't say they know, but they are singing in Rama's palace. They know that mother is Sita. Here is, you'll wonder if they're so educated, they're singing about Sita, they're going to Rama's palace, they're narrating the whole story. Yeah, I mean, we are more intelligent than Lava and Kusha. We figured it out. Those two boys didn't figure out. You're a mother of twins. So you tell me how they'll figure out. Yeah, he didn't know. Even Ramachandra, that these are his sons. So Lord Ramachandra is God. He didn't know they are his sons. Lord Ramachandra is God. He didn't know where his wife was taken away. Lord Ramachandra was God. He could not build a bridge on the river, so he wondered how to do this. Lord Ramachandra is God. So he had to beg Samudra Dev, please help me. He didn't come. Lord Ramachandra is God. So he starts crying like a piteous man. So Lakshmana has to pat him on the shoulder and say, come on. Lord Ramachandra is God. So there are many things. Atmanam Manusham Manye Dasarati. So you have to go with how Krishna's or Lord Ramachandra's Leela Shakti is operating for a very long time. Now, take the story of Krishna. He appeared in 4 arms, Shankha, Chakra, Gada, Padma, Kirita, Kundala, Kavacha, all of this in front of Vasudeva and Devaki. And then transformed into a small baby. So when he said, take me across to Gokul, Vasudeva could have said, on your own you can go. Why I need to carry you? You are the Supreme Lord. Yes, you manifested here, you manifest there. But the prema shakti, the shakti of the endearing feature of the Lord is so much that immediately there is vatsalya. Oh, my little boy, I have to carefully carry him across the Yamuna. Like that. Yeah.
You said that all the holy rivers are this, most of are dry. Holy rivers.
You don't see them unless rivers, because we built so many dams, kept the water. Yes.
I'm thinking because of that really goes to ISKCON, that because of Atman, And that I'm thinking Swaran is not in that was a holy river.
Wow, I don't know.
What's the question?
Every day we say Gange cha Yamune chaiva Godavari Saraswati Narmade Sindhu Kaveri Jalesmin Sannidhim Kuru. Why we don't recite Sarayu in that list? So I don't know the answer. I don't know. We will see later. The word Ganga includes all of her tributaries, of which Sarayu is one of the tributaries. So in that Ganga, actually the river Ganga coming up soon has different names as she flows down. When she comes from the beginning, of course it's at Gangotri as it's called, but it comes down as two different rivers. One is called the Brahmaputra, the other is called the Alakananda. And where they meet together, she becomes Bhagirathi, I think. Then where she comes later, she's called Ganga. Then when they meet again, the three rivers, Ganga, Yamuna, Saraswati meet, she's still called Ganga from there on. So when you say Ganga, in my understanding, it's all the rivers that are also tributaries that are included in it. Otherwise, one may say Ganga, Yamuna, Saraswati, only North India has been taken care of. Godavari, Narmada, Sindhu. Actually, there's a story about Godavari. She was cursed. All her good qualities will go away. Then she performs tapasya and gets benedictions from Lord Shiva again, who says, all your punya will come back to you. So Godavari was actually cursed to lose all her merit. So then she gets it again. One more question here. Is there a story why Sagara dug up the ocean? Yeah, coming up. Episode number 3. Coming from here on. Maybe 2. We're going to hear, no, I can't tell you now. We're going to hear the whole story of the lineage king, starting with Sagara Maharaj, then Dilipa, Anshuman, coming down to Dasaratha and all. That's important. He was looking for the sacrificial horse. His children were looking for the sacrificial horse that was stolen by Indra. In search of it, everywhere, 60,000. They couldn't find it. They started digging down. They excavated the whole Bhumandala. They couldn't find it until they found it somewhere in Kapila, Lord Kapila's ashram. So then the story goes on. The story is connected to why Ganga has to come to Tirana. It's connected in that sense. Any questions online on the phone?
Yeah. Hare Krishna Prabhu. Mukesh from Bangalore.
Your son has a question.
Prabhu, I have the question from the previous lecture. You mentioned one of the qualities of Lord Ramachandra is Saushilyam. Means,
Saushilyam, yes.
Yeah. So, so that means that to any category of the, like he's from the belong to a very high lineage, and then he's able to mix with any person of any level as
Right.
if he's one of them. Okay. So now when we see Lord Ramachandra's pastime, he's actually mixing with Guha, Shabri, Jatayu, Sugriva, Vibhishana, but then there is also a materialistic view, because Lord Ramachandra, he mixed with all these people with a selfish motive. Okay, so because he needed some help from them, and that's why, like, you know, as a materialistic person, he might have mixed with them. So how do we understand? How do we defend such thing that actually it was out of Saushilyam, not out of any selfish motive?
Let's consider from the material perspective for one moment.
Okay.
Lord Ramachandra was carrying his kodanda and arrows.
Mm-hmm.
And when he killed Khara, Dushana, and Trishira,
Mm-hmm.
uh, he showed that he is more than capable to kill Ravana. He doesn't need anyone's help.
Yes. Yes.
Okay? He doesn't need.
Mm.
He demonstrated that already. And in all the other cases, he is giving them an opportunity to connect with him. For example, Guha, he wants to give him some service to do. He's a prince. He could have ordered Sugriva, do it. And Sugriva
Mm-hmm.
would have to do it. He didn't need to help Sugriva. Because when Vali was killed, one of the arguments Vali makes is this is not even your kingdom. So
Mm-hmm.
you kill me. So Lord Ramachandra says that this entire country is the kingdom of Ayodhya or belongs to Ayodhya. And the king of Ayodhya is Bharata. And
Mm-hmm.
I took on the responsibility of protecting the forests under the order of Bharata.
Mm-hmm.
So he doesn't,
Okay.
he can kill Vali, he doesn't need Sugriva's help, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Vali tells Lord Ramachandra, why are you taking help of Sugriva? You should have told me. Tomorrow
Mm-hmm.
afternoon, Sita would have been with you.
Mm-hmm.
He narrates the story. You know the story of Vali and Ravana?
Yeah, little bit. Like, he
Okay, we'll
put
say it anyway.
under his
One
armpit.
day, Vali was sitting and doing his Sandhya Vandam, Gayatri meditation.
Mm-hmm.
Ravana happened to come there
Mm-hmm.
and disturbed his meditation. And one of
Mm-hmm.
the ways of disturbing his meditation was he wanted to lift Vali and throw him away because Ravana was so powerful.
Mm-hmm.
So Vali put Ravana's head under his armpit and held him like that
Mm-hmm.
while he was chanting his Gayatri. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Ravana could not move. He flailed with his 20 arms. What is it? Vali didn't even move as if something was bothering him in his armpit. He just stood there. Ravana could not breathe. Then Vali got up, because after Sandhya Vandam, again you have to take dip in the holy river. Got up with Ravana in his armpit, jumped into all the holy rivers. And by this time, Ravana could not breathe. So he begged Vali, please forgive me. I will not come close to you anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Vali tells Lord Ramachandra, you should have made friendship with me. I would have brought Sita Devi. In fact, I didn't even have to do. I just have to send a text to Ravana. Send her back.
Mm-hmm.
Ravana would have sent her back. So Lord Ramachandra made friendship with the weaker one. Not because he needed it. He needed to help Sugriva. Third one, when Vibhishana came, Lord Ramachandra did not say, without Vibhishana, I cannot cross the ocean. Vibhishana came for Sharanagati,
Mm-hmm. Okay.
not the other way.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't look for opportunity. What's my strategy? Where should I make alliances to find my way? Never.
Mm-hmm.
So he, in the case of a human being, now when coming to the story, and we're going to say this again and again till we're all bored. Atmanam. The story is that a human being has to understand that as you go through life, you cannot tackle all the problems alone. You need to make friendships with others and mutually assist each other. That is the meaning of life.
Mm-hmm.
May be great in one way. Unless you make friendships with others, you cannot traverse through life. Especially problems of life, you need to make friends. And second, when you make friends, don't look for do they belong to my language Are they from the same area that I am from? Are they from the same caste? Friendships means friendships, regardless of who the other person is. That's the sort of parallel lesson as well.
Okay.
Does that help?
Yes, Prabhu. Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Okay, 2 questions and we'll end. So fight it out.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Yeah, go ahead.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. So you said that Sarayu River will take you to Ayodhya in the
Yeah.
spiritual world. So when you go to Ayodhya, could you go to any other place in the whole universe or creation, even Golokadam?
A person will take will the person taking bath in Lokadham? Krishna can take anyone anywhere he likes. Whether you take bath or don't take bath in the Sarayu. I have to be careful to complete my sentences. But just speaking like that, you take bath in Sarayu, will you go to will you go to Golokadam? Answer is yes and no. It's not that one river ends one place, another river ends another place. When we talk of spiritual wise, we don't see them in a material way that one will take me here, one will take me there. Ultimately, what it matters is what is one's rasa with the Lord. It's not a river necessarily. One has to have a particular relationship with the Lord. And that relationship is revealed through the process of bhakti. It may very well be that today we are chanting Hare Krishna, we are praying to Krishna in Vrindavan. It may happen that our Swarupa may connect with Narasimhadev or with Lord Ramachandra or Varahadev or Vamana. We don't know what our Swarupa is. When that Swarupa is revealed, then we are connected to that particular form of the Lord without getting any other form. So, take directly there, yes and no. Literally no, yes spiritually. Actually, take a bath every day. You are supposed to recite Gange cha Yamune chaiva Godavari Saraswati Narmada Sindhu Kaveri Jale Asmin Sannidhin Kuru. Not only in the Achaman pot, even the water that we are standing under or pouring over, depending upon which part of the world we are. The water in which we are bathing, we invoke the rivers. And while we are bathing, we're also supposed to deeply in our mind meditate that we are taking a bath in Radhakund. Just as the rivers are invoked by thought or by reciting their names, we're also supposed to think that we are bathing in Radhakund every day. Okay. Okay, final question.
Hi Krishna Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
This is Jyotirmaya Devrasi.
Are you going to sing and ask?
Not Prabhu.
Okay.
I have a question. So last class you mentioned when Mandodari's shadow approached Lord Rama, he just stepped back because he took the Ekapatni Vrata. So my question is, she didn't approach him in a lusty desire like Shurpanaka came, but at the same time he has delivered Ahalya. So it's very difficult for me to understand why he did that. And also in a woman body, so how can we approach as a devotee?
He's going to walk back if your shadow falls on him. Uh, Lord Ramachandra is the shelter for all living entities. Atmavan. He's showing, Charitrena Chako Yukta is, he's showing that when even the shadow of Ravana's wife is approaching him, he is walking back. So let me ask you, how did he deliver Ahalya? What do you think is the way he delivered Ahalya?
By stepping
Where?
on the stone. Right?
Ah. So another thing in Valmiki Ramayana is there is no stone.
Oh.
Ahalya is never a stone. This is Ramanand Sagar. There is no stone. When Gautama Rishi cursed her, he said, you will be apashyatam. You will not be seen by anybody. Now that is more difficult than living like a stone, because stone everyone sees and you'll avoid it. But imagine being in a house, in any relationship where you're not seen by anybody. How does it feel? Horrible. So she was given the benediction that as soon as Lord Ramachandra steps into the ashram, you will again be seen. So he did not touch Ahalya or the stone. There is no stone. Then Sabari was an old woman. He was only 24 years old. So she is more like motherly. Mandodari's case, she's a young woman, whatever age she is married to Ravana, who is 60,000 years old, still very young. You know the meaning of the word Mandodari?
No.
Udara means the belly or the waist. Mand Udari means very slim waisted, means very attractive woman. I mean, imagine everyone calling her, hey, slim waisted. But she and Ravana are considered a great couple. She is considered very pativrata. Therefore, when we do weddings, we recite the names of great couples. We say Sita Ramayo Yatha. I don't remember the verse now. Aditi Kashyapo Yatha. Shachi Indro Yatha. Sita Rama Yatho. Mandodari Ravano Yatha. So, now when such a chaste woman comes, when her husband is dead, Ramachandra steps aside to show the world that even that is not okay for him. She talks to him. It's not like he doesn't talk to her. Mandodari then speaks to Lord Ramachandra. In fact, when Vali is killed, Tara also speaks. But the greatness of Lord Ramachandra, because we are glorifying him, is that Lord Ramachandra is always glorified by the enemies. Generally, when you speak of an enemy, you say bad person, horrible person. But all the enemies of Rama speak of Rama in great ways. Second, there are 3 women who speak negatively about Lord Ramachandra, but all the negativity is spoken as Maha glorification. First is Shurpanaka. When she comes to Khara asks her, who did this to you? Her nose is cut, her ears are cut off. And she says, Tarunau, Rupa Sampanno, Sukumaro, Mahabalav. She's glorifying them. Next is when Vali is killed, Tara comes. And Tara, in her sadness and anger, glorifies Lord Ramachandra. And third is Mandodari. Ravana has been killed. But from her mouth, although she is sad and angry, she only glorifies Lord Ramachandra. This is his greatness. Okay?
Okay, Prabhu. Thank you.
All right. So next time you bow down in front of Lord Ramachandra, make sure the lights are not behind you or on the side, so the shadow doesn't fall on him.
Sure, Prabhu.
She said, seriously, sure. Okay. Thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srimad Ramayana ki jai. Hare Krishna.